All right, your Pratt Pack. This is a rare treat, and he always looks better than 10 movie stars. The incredible talent of Bill Green. He is our political analyst here at News Radio 1020 KDKA, and it's all about the Trump card. Is he for real?
Oh, he's certainly for real. He's sustained himself that no one thought he would sustain himself from last June, July to we're now in January/February. So he is. We thought he was going to fizzle out in a matter of months. Well, he hasn't. He keeps on going, and he's got unlimited resources. He's number one in the polls. He's quite a serious candidate. To most of us in the political world never thought this, but it's coming to be true.
This is why he's so good at what he does. He was enjoying a piece of cake here at the wonderful radio station after spending time with the brilliance of Mr. Mike Pintek. Those two together, it's priceless, folks. And I got talking about this Trump thing, and I said, he's amazing when it comes to social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. But then major media outlets, he's doing Face the Nation, and then he's on The Tonight Show. And then he took it one step further and saying, money for his election and all of the things that he does to get his name and face out there, it's coming out of Trump Enterprises.
He runs everything through Trump Enterprises. The airplane, he has the 757 that has Trump on it, so he owns his own aircraft. When travel arrangements are made by the Trump Travel Agency, which is in Trump Tower, so all of his expenses are incurred by his company. So he doesn't even have to spend any of his own liquid assets. He just runs it through his company. It's quite legal. There's nothing wrong with it. Mm-hmm. He can afford to do that. So when most candidates spend perhaps as much as half their time trying to raise money, they're on the phone. It's hard to raise money.
Yeah.
And they're trying to raise it in $10,000. He never has that concern. And you have no idea what a relief that is for a candidate not to have to raise money, because you don't have to spend any time with doing so, and you're free to do other things like run for the job.
A couple of more thoughts with Bill Green. He's our political analyst here at News Radio 1020 KDK, and for my money, no one does it better. A couple of things about the Democrats in just a moment, but let's just kind of finish up with Cruz and Rubio. Does anybody really excite you enough to want to stand up and say, as a Republican, this is my candidate? I just don't see a lot of pizzazz. Is there anything that really makes you want to say?
I think you have to wait until actual votes have been cast.
Right.
This is awfully early in this process. It started in June of 2014 for an election in November 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I think after February 1 is the Iowa caucuses, February 9th is New Hampshire, February 28th is South Carolina. What you're going to be seeing is some people dropping out. There'll be lots of changes in the sea. And then you're going to be able to figure out who you're going to like. You're going to like them because there are going to be fewer of them, and your choices will be easier.
All right, speaking of the Iowa caucuses, the New Hampshire primaries, funny thing happened on the way to me believing Hillary Clinton locked this thing up. I'm hearing Bernie Sanders is doing rather well there. If that's the case, how'd that happen?
Well, it happened because he's striking a chord. I think those of us that have observed the scene have not appreciated the fact there are lots of people that are unlimited means.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't understand that. And there's millions and millions of people, and they're very frustrated. They're one paycheck away, perhaps, from not living in their apartment, or one car payment away from not having a car. They're frustrated. They're angry. Politicians don't appeal to them. The government doesn't appeal to them. But people who are angry and out of the mainstream, Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, appeals to them. And that's happened in both parties. That's where I think their appeal is.
All right, this presidential election, the platform of either party, I see obviously gun measures being a big issue, Islamic State, extremist terrorism a big issue, but I still think it comes down to the manufacturing base and jobs. Without good-paying blue-collar jobs, none of this is possible. Where do you think the voters should be focusing their attention on all of those things that I just mentioned when they're looking at their candidate?
Well, I think this is an election on national security. I don't think it's on domestic economics.
Okay.
I think we're afraid of what's happening. We're afraid of ISIS. We're afraid of all this other stuff. So I think this becomes a national security election like 2004 did. However, when you hear recent news, as we did today, about what's happening in the stock market in the last couple of days, that could change it to domestic economics if it persists. If it corrects itself, that won't be an issue.
Okay.
But I understand where you're coming from, and I think that those things will happen. But until we secure the homeland, I think nothing can happen, and I think that's where the voters' minds are right now.
And is that one of the reasons why so many people are paying attention to Donald Trump? Because he talks about wanting to make America great again.
Yeah, he has a great appeal that way. He's a very positive guy. He's an entrepreneur, very successful one, and he does strike that chord with that person. Look at the people that stood in line in Vermont the other day to go to see him.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever he goes, Joe Scarborough, who used to be the congressman from Pensacola, Florida, of course,
Right.
he now is MSNBC. He went to a rally back home in Pensacola on Monday night where Donald Trump was. He said in his lifetime of being a congressman from there, of seeing Ronald Reagan there, he never saw so much enthusiasm for a candidate in his entire time of living in Pensacola,
So
in his own hometown.
So we'll end on this note. You're a believer then that Trump could turn into the ace in the deck and actually win this thing, the whole kit and caboodle?
I don't. This is a year that has me baffled, so I don't know. I'll come back sometime and give you a prediction.
Bill Green, wherever he is on television or radio or maybe with me doing this again, please listen because he is plugged in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's kind of you. Good to see you.
The great Bill Green. We'll see you later, folks.